Hello, Edward. Hello, Peak. Happy New Year. It is 2022. Unless we went back in time. Let's go back. Let's do 2020 again. Let's go back a year. Not do that, actually. It feels like it at times. We're going on now just under 2 years from the start of the COVID stuff. Actually, it's over 2 years, depending on the country you're in. Well, 2020 was going to be great. There's so many jokes that could have came from it. Well, actually, with COVID, I guess you could see that you didn't have 2020 vision because we didn't see it coming. That's a bad one. Oh, I haven't prepped my music. Okay. Happy whatever. It's New Year's. It's 4th already. Holy crap. We're already like 3% into the year. No. 1% would be 3 days. We're like a 1% into the year. Something like that. It's too far. We got to slow it down. Anyways, we're gonna work on... I keep forgetting I have this Rathalos one I want to finish, and I haven't done it yet, so... This was gonna do it, because most of it's kind of done. Like, she's all moved. I already got her chair. She's all done already. Just got to give him some...
If you don't stop being positive, I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you sad.
Happy with that lip sync there, but I think I'll do the motion and then figure it out from there. I need 2. Coaster. Oh. Have a look. I haven't finished this one. Is it a goose? Or is that a swan? It's a goose.
It's a type of goose.
There's a goose family?
Yeah. Swans and
Goosen?
and
If you don't stop being positive, if you don't...
100% prophetically prepared? Professionally? I'm not sure what that... I don't know how to say that one. Yeah, well, thank you, Dylan. Rathalosian.
prophet.
If you don't stop...
I get it.
Huh?
Prophet. Professional.
Yes, I have some difficulty with it. Like, there's like a weird thing in the middle there. The joke on you saying you forgot the music. Ah, okay. But yes, thank you for the I don't know, just call them derps.
They're dirt.
If you don't...
Yeah, that was what I needed to do. I needed to figure out the timing for where transition all this. So this is Rathians. I'm gonna get rid of these. I think I wanted to basically be just blank staring for most of it.
If you don't stop
I think right here I want to have it change.
being positive, I'm gonna sink the.
So I'll probably have him. I'm gonna say lean back just a little bit, and then so he can look in her direction. Maybe.
If you don't stop being positive, I'm gonna sink the boat just to make.
Are some strength.
They are. Well, they in the show they had like was it Twilight and Rarity? They became a dragon.
They can't now. I can only apologies.
Fart.
Sneak. It was you farted.
I think they sneeze was in the real thing.
Sneeze was. They turned into a fart, and that was the whole joke. Fart joke.
I've been reading the new Expanse book, and they had one thing where somebody was talking about something really bad, but then ended it with a fart joke, and they're like, "I don't know if I should be sad or laughing."
It's like part of it, your family, mother, and all that.
Oh, just like mom.
Just
Oh, it means he loves me.
Yeah.
Is that really where? Oh, I guess okay, it is up higher. I was like looking down here for his spine, but yeah, technically it's up here.
If you don't stop, if you don't stop
No, I think it's a nose itch. I mean, maybe. You're from Kentucky. Maybe that's what they do out there.
fine. I've eaten.
I know what you're saying, but
Cat, if you castles.
yes, women love White Castle
Well,
farts.
they can't.
Well, I thought they have to fart.
No, you.
Oh.
Passing fart is like. We're all having a fart.
Is that how you say hello when you answer the phone?
And my thing out bad. Not good. Am I not on?
Oh, that would be why.
Now you are.
Hello.
Michael's here.
All my
I
fart
named it
jokes.
you.
All my fart jokes. Sorry.
No, I was for games nights I shut it off because otherwise it's over. I have it over off to the side and it's where the computer is and everything, and so it will pick up more fan noise. And I tried using both, but that actually makes some weirdness too. Technically it works, but it's just some weirdness. So sounds better with just one mic. I guess he's fine.
Yes.
He's just talking about
hello
farting.
again.
See, that's why I've got what's it, the NVIDIA broadcast for like their noise gate software, and so it's just cutting all Michael out because this is background noise and making farts, and it knows to cancel farts.
It has anti-fart technology, which I need very much
Why very
if
much?
you don't stop being
because of all the passing of the gassings.
Like, what have you been doing lately?
I mean, you hang out with like a bad crowd. They feed you fast food and
Or chili
beans.
fries?
Or chili fries, exactly. And then they think they're cool, But hey, this kids, stay away
Kids?
from kids. This is a public service announcement. If somebody walks up to you and offers you a can of like
If you don't
beans
stop being-
and salsa mixed
If you
together,
don't stop being,
like, you run away and you
if you don't
tell
stop
an
being,
adult, get in on these beans and salsa because this stuff is great, but you will have horrible gas. So,
Welcome to the
I
stream. Michael talking about horrible gas.
yes. I mean, look at that face. That's a guy who has gas right now. That is a. Ooh. I'm definitely gonna. No, that's just. I'm having a poop. And I was having a flashback about past poops. Like, I remember that one time in 1982.
And it goes out.
And it goes back to him in a t-shirt sitting on his couch and just the longest fought he's ever had.
Sounds like a Family Guy skit.
He transcends time and space.
Stop being
It's such an amazing fart.
if you don't stop being if you don't stop being positive,
So this, I think I'm gonna skip. I was thinking about putting a second one there, but I think I can get away with not doing that. Alex wants to do a Rathalos impression.
I hate pineapples. I hate your mom and your sisters and brothers, and I hate those little toothpicks because they don't really fit in my teeth, and I hate t-shirts in the winter. People shouldn't wear those. It's cold outside, and I also hate I hate the I hate myself. I project my hatred on other things, but in fact, it's deeply rooted within me. It's like I saw a therapist, but now I hate them too. It's an endless cycle, a cycle of hate. I hate this monologue. There you go. The perfect
Does hate
Rathalos.
stuff.
He does hate things.
This is a good Rathalos. Ah, I see what you did there.
Rathalos.
Mike classified as background noise.
if you don't stop being positive, think the boat, stop being positive. I'm gonna sing the
Am I the stream
boat.
background?
Just I'm gonna sing. I'm gonna
I'm out.
be.
Yeah, it's all,
Hear nothing.
it's all fixed. So I want to have him go back just a bit more with this. I don't want to go like overboard with this. I want to try to get it done today, so I can start it rendering.
People can be like, "Wow,
I
a
realized,
Rathalos tweet. I thought you were dead."
yeah, I get that every time I tweet in the last like couple months. I tweeted on Christmas, just Merry Christmas or whatever. That's what I said, and I got I think 2 tweets of like, I thought you were dead. I'm like, I posted a month ago. That's where I was like, oh, I should probably finish this.
Maybe you
I'm
are
gonna
dead.
get the
and
ball.
This is just like a
Stop being
advancement
positive.
in it.
I'm gonna sing.
On. The internet was right. The internet's always right. Put that on a t-shirt. Walk around wearing that t-shirt.
Your internet's always right.
The internet is always right.
No.
I want to make that t-shirt because I think it would
Positive.
just like
I'm gonna
you
sing
would both be both like and you figure out who your friends are. Exactly. I knew Bigfoot was real. I knew all along. Internet wouldn't lie to me.
If you don't stop being positive, I'm gonna
Friend
sing
Elvis
the
Presley
boat just
Wander
to
in the Woods.
make you sad.
So now for this, doesn't matter when I transition what ambient amp motion I'm pulling in. So I'm just gonna go and this grab this.
Just to make you sad.
Apparently I have
Just
to
to
do a
make
mic
you
check.
sad.
My voice impression.
Make you
Oh. No one wants you to do a voice impression of a mic check.
Like, mic check. Mic check. Is this mic working? Hello? Testing.
Yeah, metal plate.
Testing.
I don't think that's
see.
one.
Testing.
Stop that. I know you're hurting yourself.
Testing. It doesn't work. It's broke.
I might have to get him in for a concussion. Arrow reanimates on a monthly basis. Reanimates? Well, no. For Rathalos, I wanted to originally do it where I would try to put out something every week for that, but that would have been too much. So I'm doing like monthly. I'm trying to stick to. So
I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you
Rathalos
sad.
is talking. It's like Groot from what is it?
attacking Rathian win.
Just talk.
Never. So, I'd mentioned part here on, but the mouths are different between the both of them, and it took me a lot of time to figure out how I wanted Rathalos's done. I would have to go and basically redo all that work to make Rathian work. And I've done a couple other different models, but being they're so similar, it was like I didn't want to go through like a copy paste of the same type of thing, because I still have to export her and everything. Like there's a whole process just to get to the point of even playing with the lips. And that was just more work than I was really willing to put in for the model. But back when I started with Rathalos, I wanted to bring Rathian in on stuff, and it was so I just like, well, what can I do with her that doesn't have any lip functionality? And I'm like, barking. So I just had her bark, and now it's been a joke. So I just left with it. Technically, she doesn't have a tongue either. I cannot control the tongue. In here, there's actually the tongue under the tongue. I think it has a single bone, but I can't bend it like this. Rathalos's can. So I actually take his tongue, and so I have like a little tiny Rathalos extending his tongue out, and so I just kind of cheat it a little bit.
I like to think she does talk like in like Groot from that Protectors of the Universe show, and you know the one I'm talking about. The Groot from Protectors of the Universe.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that one. And,
Protectors of the Universe. It sounds like the DC ripoff.
But there's like a secret script that only you know, and that all of her barks are like deep, insightful conversations. I believe this to be true.
I actually do like the tweets that I've made on her account have been thought over, of like how I would do them, like what letters I use and whatnot, because I want to try to make it like there is something behind it. But right, that may be some phrases without rigging, like talking while looking aside or something. Yeah, but as soon as she talks, I can't go back to barking. So it's been more fun just making her a dog. And the only other character I want to add from facial features to beyond what I have right now is Pookie Pookie. But that is because I want to do something with that character that requires Pookie Pookie. But otherwise I like doing Toby. So I did start Pookie Pookies, but I have to relearn how to do this stuff. It's been like a year since I poked at it.
Just to make you sad.
I always weirded out how much more body hair Rathian has in comparison to Rathalos,
Body hair?
which is none. She's got like patches of hair.
It's fur.
Why'd she have fur? She's a dragon.
Why?
And Rathalos doesn't have fur.
Yeah, because he's manly and he shaves.
Oh. So,
See this jawline?
yeah.
It's definitely a Gillette.
I always thought like jawline. This is a jawline of somebody who just doesn't leave the house.
Oh, she's going to stay warm. Got her fur coats. It's not. She doesn't have like a furry chest. It's on her hand. She's got furry hands.
Yeah.
And she got a furry back.
Yeah, because who doesn't like their ladies furry back?
Well, yes, because I know that the analogy to dragons is the same as humans.
Yes.
You furry.
But he doesn't have a furry bag.
Being positive.
Same.
I'm
Very furry.
He's like,
Back hair.
trying to pretend he's not looking, but he's back here. And it was love at first.
Custodians of the universe. That'd be like in the SNL version, like budget.
Somebody's got to clean up their messes.
Mm-hmm.
Just go through the galaxy following them and just kind of cleaning up the junk.
We brought that up on like I think it was the first podcast we brought it with Spider-Man, where he just everywhere he swings he's just leaving web everywhere, and somebody's got to clean that up. And like when he's just swinging around for the joy of it, it's different than if he's trying to say, if he's doing like crime fighting, you can say like, okay, the city will pay for it because he's solving crime. But no, when he's just like swinging around going woo, that's vandalism. So yeah, there's got to be this. I want an entire like series is just dedicated to the custodian for like cleaning up Spider-Man's crap.
Yeah, and it's like it's a thankless life. Barely makes enough to pay rent.
Like a documentary. It's an honest life.
I like to imagine it gets repurposed in like some sort of like biodegradable fertilizer or plant or clothing for the poor. Like
biodegradable clothing for the poor.
One of the two.
So Spider-Man goes and shits on some buildings, and they turn that into clothing
for like the.
But he has the cartridges full of the stuff.
Yeah.
So.
They collect it after he's sprayed it everywhere, and there's like a whole business making like clothing out of this stuff.
But all the materials that come in there, they could have already done it with, so they have like an avenue for it. I don't know.
You harvest it from the Spider-Man.
Oh.
You follow him around. Like, collect that. So
that's what you're saying. Like this custodian would be swinging around behind him with a mop.
Yes. You got to get that stuff. You got to make it into like tablecloths and
that would
blankets.
Well, I guess the nice thing with the tablecloth like that, it ain't moving anywhere. You put the stuff down, it's stuck.
Won't be there forever.
But Spider-Man comes over for dinner and he just sets the table like going. That's the sound.
Spider-Man's move.
I wanna have it be that it makes the sound like you have a whipped cream container, like the what is it, the foamy cream, and so it's just like.
What if his spider webbing actually tastes good?
Is that why he does this? Because he has to like when you know like with the whatever you got to push the nozzle.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing.
He's pushing the nozzle.
I like to think that maybe the spider web actually tastes good. Like it's like whipped cream, and every once in a while he'll just like eat some of it. But then he'll press too hard and like.
But you're saying you're making shirts out of it, but now you're saying he's eating it.
It's multifunctional. It's like the most amazing product in the world, and the guy's just leaving it all over the city.
You got another voice impression in your best Minnesota accent.
My best Argo Damon
to say
accent.
Pookie Pookie 5 times fast.
Oh yeah, Pookie Pookie. Oh yeah, Pookie Pookie. Oh, it's Pookie Pookie. Yeah, it's Pookie Pookie. Yeah, Pookie. Oh yeah, Pookie Pookie. Yeah.
That's Canadian.
That's what Minnesotan is. I think I did I think I did the best job ever. Oh yeah.
I feel triggered.
Oh
yeah. What is yeah? No, you're saying yeah. It's yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You're saying yeah.
See, you're the Minnesotan expert.
Here. Let me do Michael's impression of Minnesota. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hot dish.
A hot dish.
Are you singing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh.
No, Are you like?
It's like Old Macdonald.
Yeah, that's a singing version. Old
Macdonald had a goose.
No, it's Grey Duck.
Yes. It went quack quack here and a quack quack there. Here quack there. Quack. Oh yeah, quack quack. This is the best.
Old Macdonald had a goose, and that reminds me of a story about Goose. Or this guy I knew, his name was Old Macdonald, and he had a goose, and it was a chonker of a goose. You know, that won second place in the biggest goose contest. You should have seen the winner, though. Hoo-wee! That thing, he were feeding him pigs. He was just eating nothing but pigs. What were we doing?
You see, you're the expert on all things Minnesotan because you're like from here and stuff.
Goose pigs.
If you don't stop,
I still like. It's funny because when I first came here, like, oh, nobody has that accent, and then we ran into people with like the heavy Minnesota accent.
Oh, I used to work with somebody that was Canadian, and every sentence or every other sentence was A. He didn't have a strong accent, but he had the mannerisms of it.
Yeah.
Is this the fabled Michael song too? Oh, hey, oh, hey, oh. No, that's how you summon a demon. Don't repeat that.
We call him Jim. He's our friend.
He just keeps coming up. He's like, stop summoning me.
if you don't stop,
I always like the idea, like, you know how these demon summons, like, have these, like, old ancient languages that are based in, like, some Sanskrit. I just like the one demon who's summoned by, like, the Price is the call and the Price is Right. It's like, hey, it's your turn, Marjorie, and come on down. And all of a sudden, a demon appears. He's like, darn it, not again.
You follow the
Change
ritual.
the phrase. His cousin summoned every time somebody like says $1. $1, Drew.
I don't know why that makes me want to have like where one of the things on the Wheel of Fortune is like death.
Ooh, wow.
Like they're just spinning around and goes, ooh, I'm sorry. And then this trapdoor opens, the person disappears. You just hear, ah!
That would make it a far more popular show, I think.
Yeah.
Like one of the prizes could be like live forever, and then one is death.
The best podcast, our conversation now,
if you don't stop,
or our actual podcast.
if you don't stop being,
I do have fun with the podcast stuff.
Yeah, and they make me nervous. Like some days, if I can't think of a question for the podcast, I start having like a crisis.
No, I usually come up with something, but it's more about there's so many questions we brought up that we don't even go off the question. We go off a whole different direction. Yeah, your conversation now. This is essentially the same conversation we have at podcasts. So,
like, one of my questions was like, what is Waldo hiding from?
yeah, like no, that's the kind of questions that are
It's
great.
horrible.
What
is he running from? Why is he hiding? Did he kill
if
somebody?
you don't stop being,
I think he might have.
No, that's really. And now we started doing like one of the one that's out and then the one that's coming up. We did a improv trivia where I make up a trivia question and then whatever they say is the truth and they have to talk about it on the spot at the moment that they say it. And we had some pretty good ones come out of that. I think it was the one we just put out where Kyle said that cheese is made out of lice, and it's at what rate they vibrate that determines what kind of cheese it is. And the way he phrased it, I was laughing for a minute straight. It was so good.
Putting all of our improv training to the test.
Well, we're all really good about just coming up with bull crap, and that's why I think it's fun to kind of put people on the spot to do that a little. I think some people were a little uncomfortable at first, but they got into it real quick.
I think what you get, it's all a matter of just like you get going and you down a thought path, and then you just keep following. But you have to start the thought. That's the hard part.
if you don't stop,
Yeah, it's coming up with that thing on the spot. But it's really, you say something and then you just start saying words. It doesn't have to be right. Some of the best stuff that comes out is you're not thinking. You just speak.
The second you start thinking, you lose.
if you don't stop, if you don't stop, if you don't stop,
You're out of the pop. Check the majors and the up. Ope. Well, you're going weird one. Oh, yeah, pop is what we say up here. We don't say soda. We don't say Coke.
What?
if you don't
It's
stop,
pop.
if you don't,
It's, to me, I don't care which is used.
Which one do you use?
I will usually use pop, but it's the same thing. Like, is it mom or mother? Is it dad or father?
Mother.
Yeah, but I'll go back and
Like
forth.
if you're
between
a
those.
child, it's mom.
I say mom. I'm home, but now I have to say grandma because she has grandchildren.
My mother is super adamant that all of
you
her
don't stop
grandchildren call her grand,
you don't,
and I'm like,
you don't
mother,
stop being,
I'm redneck enough. but she's
No, my mom is, well, it's not my mom wants it, but it's when there's grandkids around, it's easier because otherwise they think mom is their mom. So.
Yeah. She wants Granny too?
But no, my mom still calls my grandma mom. So I guess that doesn't bug me.
If you don't
I
stop
wouldn't
being,
think it would, like,
if
your
you don't stop
grandmother
being-
is still your mother, she's
positive.
just your grandmother. And you want to
If you don't
probably,
stop being,
like, I mean, I really, I'm close to my grandmother. Who's still alive, by the way. He's very old.
Can you repeat the quote she said to you when you left? That
Oh.
moved out of state?
Can't remember the quote exactly, but essentially it came down to, you'll miss me when she basically guilt tripped me hard,
If you don't
saying
stop
that
being-
I'll be dead
if
soon
you don't stop
and you
being,
won't be
if you
here.
don't stop being,
And I'm just like, Grandma, please no.
if you
And she
don't
does
stop
it
being
every time I go down there to visit. Like in
being
some phrase or another. Like I was down there recently, and she's like, well, I was saying goodbye to her as Christmas, and she's like, well, if we see each other again. I'm just like, Grandma, please. She is, I think, like 86.
I'm gonna say,
So she's up there, and she might be right one of these times. But yeah, no, she's very much like,
I'm gonna say,
if you had stayed, maybe we could have. This wouldn't be the last time we see one another.
There's always going to be a last time.
Yeah. She wasn't happy that I moved away.
How dare you live a life of your own?
positive.
I mean, from her perspective, she moved back to Kentucky with my grandfather to be closer to family, and the only family she has in Kentucky is my mother and her grandkids that are my mother's kids. I'm one of them. But so anyone leaving was kind of rough. I'm honestly a little surprised she didn't just move back to Maryland, where
Positive.
most of her children are, but
Positive.
each their own,
Stop
I
being
guess.
positive. It's positive.
A little bit. I am able to move this a little bit. Because when there's motion going on, I can cheat it. But I don't want to move too much because otherwise it'll speed up the ambient motion in between. Momther?
Momther. Oh, Momther. Sounds
I
like
guess-
it sounds like a villain in a Godzilla movie. It's Momther.
Oh no, here comes
Run.
Dadther.
Death of Mrs. Momther.
My sister-in-law always calls my dad Fog. That's been a joke since when they were getting married, to father of the groom.
No.
And so she always calls him Fog. But also they say Papa. That's all the grandkids, so they use that too. I was remembering the one thing. What do you think? What do you think about you in the recent movie version? The guy sounds very non-spell checked. Movie version
Of him?
I'm guessing the Rathalos ones. I'm not sure. Like, actually, I still have to watch the Monster Hunter movie, the live action. There is a 3D one on Netflix. It's interesting, but it's also
It's so
the
bad.
cutscenes in the game in some ways are better. So
There was so little effort.
I
put
get
into
if
that.
they were to put out like one of those every like 3 months, like okay, yeah, you know what? They're putting out a lot. That's fine, but this just seems I wouldn't buy it. But the live action I want to see at some point. I just haven't seen it yet. I don't know why I haven't. I think it was just COVID, and then time kind of keeps going fast.
Just being stuck in the house is the worst time to watch a movie.
Yeah, but I always feel like when I have the time, I have like games I can play or I can work on stuff. Movies are just such an investment to sit down and lock your time away for. I
Unless you
like
wanna watch them.
TV series that are like 20 or 40-minute episodes. When you have a 2-hour and 15-minute video or movie, it's hard to.
How many times have you sat down and binged an entire season of something on Netflix?
Positive.
Not really.
No?
Not an entire season. I like to watch, like, when I get to the last couple episodes, I'll binge those. But otherwise, I like to watch, like, 1 or 2 episodes of something and then let it process. If I binge too much of it, it feels like I lose some of it. And I appreciate it more when I can watch, like, 1 or 2 and then stop.
Yeah.
And then, like, the next day, come back to it. It's like extending it over time makes it a more enjoyable experience. It's very, I think, like, one time, I think like Lost in Space, I binged the last season of that in like 2 days because it was just so good.
I did binge Lost in Space, all 3 seasons on vacation. Heck of a ride.
Yeah, well, because that's like 10 episodes, 8, and they're an hour each.
It's 30 hours of Lost
a lot.
in Space in 1 week.
But it keeps getting better and better and better, so it's really hard to stop.
I enjoyed it. I finished it. I did think it was a little camp.
Oh yeah, it's made for kids.
Yeah. Like it seemed like I actually kind of started hating the Robinsons.
Kinda.
Because they kept making horrible choices.
Yeah, but they kept working out because they're smart.
They kept working out because they were lucky.
Yeah.
They basically would MacGyver their way through space. Like, well, if I use this paperclip and this bubble gum, I can fuel a rocket. Like, literally, in one episode, they fuel all the rockets with bat poop.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can. And then in another episode, suddenly, they can just use lightning to fuel their rocket.
I know, and they did that by turning their ship into a boat. A sailboat. It was ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
But it was fun.
It's fun. Yeah, I can say it's fun.
Ketchup. I use Coke because that is what I drink. Oh, it's different. No, I'm saying in the South, there's they'll use Coke as a meaning for soft drink. So if you say you want a Coke, they'll say what kind. Like I have a story about one of the guys I know that was from Texas. They were going to go ice fishing, and one of the guys that was at work went to him and said, "Hey, can you bring some Cokes up with us?" He goes, "Yeah, sure, I can bring some Cokes." So the guy goes up there, and he goes. The one guy goes to pull out some whiskey, and then he goes, "Hey, did you bring the Cokes?" And he goes, "Yep." And he goes and grabs his Mountain Dew. And he goes, "I told you to pick up Cokes." And he goes, "I did." And then he's holding the whiskey. He goes, "Oh, you meant Coca-Cola." And so they had whiskey and Mountain Dew.
That sounds disgusting.
Doesn't sound very good.
It's kind of the same thing in Kentucky where people would say, "I want Coke," and it would just be whichever they had. Like if they had Coke, or if they had Pepsi, or if they had RC Cola for some weird reason.
But at least that's a cola.
Yeah, but then that's the thing. I decided that was ridiculous on my own personal, decide, I'm gonna stop saying Coke. Because they don't always have Coke. Sometimes they have Pepsi. So I'm gonna say cola instead. Because then they'll just give me whichever cola they have. And, okay, I would say, can I have a Diet Cola? And they would look at me like my head just came off. Because they would have no idea what I wanted. It was just like, "You want a cola?" I'm like, "Yes." "Which one do you have?" Because it's always one or the other. It's never both.
"I would like a sparkling beverage, please."
Yes.
You were just too sophisticated for them.
You can't say cola. Nobody will know what you want. If you say Coke, they'll bring you a Pepsi if that's what they have. But if you say cola, your head just fell off. As far as that. At least that was my experience. Weird. People are weird.
If you don't stop being
I never thought about that, Sir Edward. Are soft drinks called soft drinks because they're non-alcoholic?
Yeah, that's why.
Really?
Actually, yeah, I
that.
figured that out. It's they're called soft because they're not alcoholic.
I never bothered to think about it.
I didn't really make the connection because I think that you learn soft drinks so far away from hard drinks.
Yeah.
You don't think you it's distinct, but no, that is the reason for it.
Yeah,
there's actually a thing I just watched recently that said something about that.
When I think alcohol, I think a hard drink, but I never thought soft drinks. I never connected the two. Now that I think about it, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Pepsi or Coca-Cola?
I was actually watching a thing that they were talking about how there's alcohol in almost everything that we consume, like bread, because it's used yeast. It has alcohol in it.
Yeah.
And actually, based on I think what the rules were during the Prohibition, a loaf of or a certain amounts of bread, if consumed, would have technically been above the limit of alcohol.
Actually, during Prohibition, sauerkraut was weren't allowed to get it because it passed the legal alcohol limit.
Yeah, there's so many things that have alcohol in it that you don't actually realize have alcohol in it. Anything that uses yeast in any way has alcohol in it.
Yeah.
Maybe in absolutely minuscule amounts to where you'll have to consume more of it. You're gonna throw up before you would even have any hint of anything. But yeah, it's in a lot of things.
Positive. I'm gonna say positive. And positive. I'm gonna sink. Positive. I'm gonna sink the boat.
And technically, anything that uses vinegar is alcohol, because vinegar is essentially just wine that's been left out, so it turns to vinegar. So if you ever want vinegar and you have a bottle of wine lying around, just set it out for a couple months. Turn to vinegar.
Positive. I'm gonna sink.
A wine.
You have white. I have like a white wine vinegar. Yeah. But I was watching again a guy about doing some cooking stuff about like anytime you make almost anything, you can just add white wine. Because it's just when it boils down and it'll add like a good sweet texture to so much food.
I mean, if you really like the taste of grapes, like.
No, it's specifically on white wine, and you can get cooking wine, but otherwise you can just buy like a $5 cheap of anything. But it's not everything, but there's a large amount of dishes you can just toss it in, and just you're not like dropping it in there or anything, but just a splash of it.
Cooking.
Pepsi Cola or Coca-Cola. I like that you said Coca with chocolate because we tried that when I was working at McDonald's and it's disgusting. It makes it foamy. Don't do that.
Put chocolate in your Coke. If I had to say Coca-Cola or Pepsi, I'd say Coca-Cola if I'm mixing it with alcohol, and Pepsi otherwise.
In certain words, I was wondering if ice is the hard drink, but no, it's alcohol.
Yeah, it's alcohol.
I'd ask for a favor of having a cola-flavored drink made with carbonated hydrogen monoxide close to my current location, specifically over on the table in front of me. That's when you're told to leave because you're being a brat.
Stop being positive.
I mean, most fast food places, if anybody's worked in long enough, it doesn't get carbonated until you actually go to fill your drink, and they just have a tank in the back that's filled with carbon.
Yeah, it's just there's a syrup, and then there's the carbonation, the stuff that carbonates it, and then all they do is right at the faucet it mixes the two together. Drinking the pure syrup does not taste like the drink.
It does not.
I did Mellow Yellow. We couldn't do Coke.
Like the worst one.
We couldn't do Coke because Coke they had a giant tank of because they were so much more popular. But then all the other ones you'd have to go in the back when somebody says it was out of a flavor, and you'd have to like unscrew the little thing, jam the new one in. But then you have the cap, and you get a little like after you screw it all in the cap, you get a little taste of like pure Mellow Yellow without carbonation. It's just candy. It is disgustingly sweet.
We didn't have the big one for the Coke. We had all the plastic bags filled with the syrup that we had to screw in.
We had it for like Diet Coke and a lot of the others, but Coke had an actual giant tank because it was just so much more popular and used so much more that they just have a full tank of it.
I mean, that makes sense. We were back there changing the Coke one like hour.
When you say I've got my Coca-Cola holding a Sprite can, property of the Coca-Cola company. There was actually a thing that I think Food Theory did where it was basically says that Santa invented Sprite, and when you follow the trail of logic, actually kind of yes.
Didn't Coca-Cola invent Santa?
No, there is enough showing that Coca-Cola took advantage of it, but they did not invent Santa.
Like the image of Santa.
No, that was actually invented way back in
Santa was invented in that one poem?
No, but the actual look of Santa was invented. It was actually from a guy that was doing an anti-war picture.
Okay.
And pictured a Santa Claus in what we know him as, but it was as a anti or a pro-war thing. So, but then that's the image everybody went with. And then Coca-Cola, because it gave so popular, tagged it and went with it. So, but because of that, there's all these other things that happen, and it was because of those actions taken with the original Santa that led to Sprite becoming a thing.
Well, at least we all know that Coca-Cola invented polar bears that eat expedition teams so they can drink their colas. That is where they get them. Where else would they get them? They're polar bears. They killed people.
Yes. See, they didn't. Coca-Cola didn't invent Santa, but they did invent polar bears.
Yes.
So
Polar bears didn't exist until the Coca-Cola decided they.
Well, I'm pretty sure it would be artists that decided something exists. It's not like the CEO sat down with a pen and paper like polar bear.
He just took a bear and then he colored it white. He didn't draw it. It was more like a coloring book. He didn't fill in. Like this. This is our new mascot. Like, sir, that's a coloring book of a brown bear that isn't been colored in yet.
He's like, I meant to do that. I meant to do that.
Yes, it's our new ad campaign. Have it maul expedition teams in the Arctic, or the sodas, and that is the story.
I'm gonna sink the boat. I'm gonna sink the boat.
You're doing Rathalos stuff.
I'm gonna sink the boat.
It's like, I remember you're animating. It's crazy.
I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you sad.
Drinks. No, you still have some. There. There you go. You want another drink?
Sure. Grab me one of the honey ones in the door.
The honey ones.
It's well, yeah. It's the brighter can. Kind of looks artsy. You
So
can just bring the can.
The drink that's meant for the hipster in the house.
Yes.
Oh, there she is. I love it because it's so derp and so.
It's got the cutie mark on both sides, though.
Yeah, that's what gets me. It's like
This tag. It's huge.
It is.
It's like if she breaks her leg, she can just wrap it around as a bandage.
I think it's crazy that the actual Hasbro stuff for the longest time in G4 only had the cutie mark on one side, and now I've seen several examples of Hasbro toys with the cutie mark on both sides. And then now in the show, they're only on one side. They really need to pick a lane.
They're going the cheapest lane. And I don't think it's always Hasbro making the decisions. Different QA teams, different everything.
Madness.
I'm gonna sink the boat. I'm gonna sink the boat.
A good idea to tell Mike to use chicken for a voice impression, or will this destroy 53 different timelines? I don't like him touching chicken because chicken gets angry.
I'm gonna sink the boat.
It's like chicken has to go to therapy because of many of the Michael moments, and they have to keep saying like, "Where in the chicken did he touch you?"
I'm gonna sink the boat. I'm gonna sink the boat.
I said if I want to add like a sway to the head going up.
Positive. I'm gonna sink the boat. I'm gonna sink the boat. I'm gonna sink the boat. Just. I'm gonna sink the. I'm gonna.
I can make it work.
I'm gonna sink the. I think the. I'm gonna sink the boat just to sink the.
A little bit.
Sink the boat just sink the boat.
And I'm also gonna give the body a little bit of a. I'm gonna do the arms afterwards since they're locked in place. It's easier for me just to do it in post. Makes sense. So no chicken until you become background noise. Is that what that seat's called? It's called background noise. Yeah, it's artsy.
It's artsy.
I like this. Like the last one I had was a coffee cake one I got. I didn't like it at first, but the more I've had it, the more I like it. So I still like this one.
Is that local or no?
Both of them are. Actually, the other one might not be. This one is local. This is product of the USA. I think it is anyway.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
One of my favorite jokes in The Simpsons was like when they had a hipster show up at their house and they're like, "Quick, Homer, run inside and get the local microbrew." And he runs inside, he grabs the one can of like some obscure beer company that's local, hands it to the guy, drinks, and he's like, "It's pretty good." They all have a sigh of release.
Release. Sigh of release. Ah.
They were extra happy.
The boat just sink the boat.
I don't care about stuff being local. It's just more of I like supporting businesses that are local. So if I find something I like that is local, great. And this one's local. I really like it. Surly's got some really good stuff. They're actually got a lot of really good beers in Minnesota.
I think everyone has every state, at least as far as maybe not every state. I don't think Arizona's. No, they probably have like local grows in Arizona, like the agave plant. Right? They probably have.
But that's
tequila?
not beer. That's tequila.
Yeah, I'm just saying alcohols in general. Like Kentucky's big on whiskey.
But that's all just based on
Well, you can.
yeah, what's available in the area that you're in.
Just to sink the boat. Just I'm gonna sink the boat. I'm gonna sink the.
I'm curious, and this question's for chat too. How many people here gone to a sit-down restaurant, like one that's not a fast food restaurant, one where you have to go in, open up a menu, and actually order something from a waitress by themselves?
I have. Ever at any time?
Like at any point.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Yeah, I have. I think I was traveling one time, and that was just like I needed something different.
Do fast food?
Oh.
I think the only one it wouldn't count as is like a diner. A diner is different. It's different. Like going into a Waffle House and just eating by yourself. That's like going into a fast food restaurant and eating by yourself.
At one of the conventions I did. You guys all went to the Italian place, and I needed to stick back to have time to get stuff set up. So I ordered from the restaurant at the hall, and I got food there, and I went and sat by myself. It was a sit-down place, like the order was placed and whatever. Yeah. But because I could eat there, get my food quicker, and get set up before you guys got back.
Sink the boat just to.
I would say
sink the boat just to make you.
Anything that's not a diner or fast food. Like eating at like a all-you-can-eat buffet by yourself.
Well,
I guess that counts, but.
Well, buffet, no, because you're still going to a register to buy the stuff, and then you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
It's different if you're sitting there silently for 10 minutes waiting for food to come.
The boat just to make. The boat just.
I'm trying to think of any other situations. I know I have before.
The boat just to make you. A boat just to.
Like, I know I have that at some places, but like you're saying, I've definitely sat at all-you-can-eat buffets and ate by myself, which was something a younger me used to do.
I'm trying to think of what would come through my brain that, you know what I want today? An all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah.
That's like a social thing.
Yeah, I've done it by myself.
Why?
I really liked the restaurant. They had
what?
Really food.
I've never had a time where I thought I really want buffet food.
It was Chinese and it was delicious.
You can order Chinese elsewhere.
Yeah, but then you don't get the like whole awkward thing where you're like your waiter or waitress comes up and like, just you, huh?
Just to make.
Like yeah.
Just to
and
make you.
It's a little different, but I used to sit down at a Denny's almost every day for like 3 months by myself. My car was in the shop for a really long time after somebody drug it through a Kroger parking lot, and I wanted to get fixed because it was my car and I loved it. But it would take 3 months to get the new title for it. I had to, because the insurance company would only give me money if I got it put into a rebuilt title. It was a whole thing. But essentially, for an hour and a half after work every day, I had to wait for my mom to come pick me up. It's a little sad when you're in your mid-20s, but
Not really.
I've been waiting every day. My mom's got to pick me up from work, guys. But the closest restaurant within walking distance of my workplace was a Denny's inside of a gas station. Because that's where you keep your Denny's. And,
I don't know, kids. Where do you keep your Denny's?
Yeah, there was one attached to a gas station nearby. And I would go there and sit down every day for like 3 months and just eat Denny's by myself. For supper. I ate everything on the menu like several times. I would rotate through it.
Gotta get the moon over my hammy.
Yes, I probably ate that time. There is a bit of a story, because I wasn't the only one who would eat there every day. I quickly realized this. There was this couple of two rather large individuals, much larger than myself, and they always put on this show for me, and I watched them.
What, they put a show on for you?
Well, they didn't know they were putting a show on.
Oh,
for me.
okay. I'm like, oh, Michael's here. Did it.
But they would always do this back and forth where they would. Oh, there was always one item on the menu every day that was all you could eat. One item on the Denny's menu. Like you ordered it and they would just bring it out until you were done. But these guys would sit down and they would go like, "Oh, this looks good today. Oh, this looks good today." And they were very loud people. I could always hear their conversation in between. Like, "Oh, the salad looks nice. Oh, they got this looks good." But then they would always order the all-you-could-eat thing, and I would just sit there with a smile on my face, knowing that they were basically just putting on this, I don't know, this show for one another. It was weird, where they were like, "Oh, maybe I won't do the all-you-can-eat thing," but then I would smile, knowing the best part of it was their waitress knew it too. They knew what they were gonna order, but she would come up to them, be like, "Have you decided yet?" And they'd be like, "Oh, we need a few more minutes." And she knew they didn't need time. It was one of the weirdest things.
Weird. You were from the weirdest place. Like, it sounds like when people talk about like customs from other countries, and you're like, "Wow, that doesn't make it's weird," and you're from the middle of the United States.
It was just the weirdest thing, because like I knew, their waitress knew, like the only people they were fooling were each other.
I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you sad.
Great.
Been loaned at many times. It's done restaurants. Thank you, Philip, for the bits. Start catching up on that. Michael was talking a lot. One cafe I would invite the waitress to sit with me and talk when it was slow. Oh, well, that was nice.
That's nice.
I did have one. I went to, it was a Friday. It's me and my old roommate. We happened to be much further north. I think we were looking at for an apartment. No, we were doing something else. But we ended up being up further north than the city's area, and went to a restaurant, and our waitress ended up being like my friend's sister's friend that I happened to know from high school. And it was like 8 years later, and she was a waitress there, and it's like, is that you? And they're like, yeah. And it was me and my roommate there, and she goes, so I think we were there on Valentine's Day. It just happened, like, we were out that day. And she's like, so you guys here together? And I'm like, no. And my roommate's like, I love you. And he's like, he tried to put on the slang. It was funny. But yeah, she sat down with us and like during her shift for a while, because it was pretty quiet, and just like hung out with her a little while, catching up.
My waitress stole my credit card. That's a different story.
I'm talking every time like somebody's like, you know what, I have a positive story. Mine's like, you know what I need to do? I need to destroy the mood.
No, it's fun. I look back on it now and I smile.
Do you want to tell them the story about you losing your wallet just recently?
Not a story worth telling. That was me. I lost my wallet.
It's where you found it that's funny.
I somehow managed to put my pants. I had the wallet in the pants inside of a suitcase, which I then closed up. And I could not find my wallet.
He's not doing a trip.
Panicking.
He's not planning for a trip. It's just a suitcase he leaves on his bed.
Yeah, just in case trips happen. Sometimes, like, you're going through your day, like, all of a sudden, you gotta go on a trip. So you keep that suitcase ready.
You're so ready.
Yeah.
So beyond ready.
Yeah, I was putting
your wallet's there for it, too.
And I could not find my wallet. I was panicking. Like, we sat down and we watched, The Expanse that night. Like, it was 15 minutes before everybody was showing up to watch it, and that's when I realized my wallet was missing.
It was more than that. And then you were looking, you were looking for it before then, or like before, and then afterwards for a while. We're like, "Where's Michael?" And you're just like,
I might freak so hard, but
that's the wallet noise.
It's the wallet noise. Yeah. But no, I like during the breaks of when we were watching these spaces, like, okay, everybody go to the bathroom, okay, and I'd run upstairs and I'd be looking for my wallet. Then that night, when I was going to bed, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to sleep, I'm gonna get rested, and I'm gonna look for it in the morning. I could not sleep because my wallet was missing. So I finally found my wallet at 2:30 in the morning. And then I was so excited that I had found my wallet I couldn't sleep. Cycle.
Stupid face. And hello big Lego man. After seeing the title, I thought two dragons were humping. I actually done the chairs or make nope, I don't do any of that. I do I like wholesome content, wholesome humor. There was somebody I remember was had a tweet or something. I think it was Kelchan did a tweet about like Jackbox. Like, he had some friends that said they were going to do Jackbox nights. They went over there and all the jokes were just lewd and over the top. And it's like, that's fine for a quick joke, but when it's all that is the jokes that are there, it's not funny anymore. I think wholesome humor is the funniest humor.
But like lewdish poop jokes were the entire comedy of the 90s. That's what everything was.
But when it's always like swear words and sex jokes, and where that is the joke about it being extreme and not it being actually funny, it gets old really quick.
Yeah.
So.
Well, people don't tend to remember the 90s fondly, anyways.
Yeah. Okay, that was stupid.
Except for Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles were cool.
Yeah, and they're pastries. They
did. Like, if somebody somehow managed to get a hold of a Ninja Turtles Hostess pie from like the mid-90s, give it to me, they'd be my new best friend, and I would eat that pie.
It was stale and old.
They're stale and old. They're stale from the second they're made. Have you ever had one of those Hostess fruit pies? They're amazing. Hard as rocks sometimes when you make them. Derbies. After. Alright, stupid face. I thought you were just having derpy. Jeez. Anthony. What's everybody's favorite pony? Remember, there are wrong answers.
Nothing. And
it's like Derby's trying to be edgy, getting some contacts. I am now the bug horse. The best bug horse.
Bigger. There we go.
Me. Oh, the cab. No, you know, if you make get her in the next Marvel vs. Capcom. Yeah, that's something they need to add into Marvel vs. Capcom. Is just one of the monster hunters. No, well, Derpy, yeah. Just like one of them, what are they called? What are the monster hunters called? They have like a name.
Hunters.
Well, that's boring.
They probably have a fancier name, but doesn't mean anything.
if they can have that dog from that, what was that sun dog? What's that sun dog's name? Starts with an A. I'm gonna get it wrong.
Sun dog?
Yeah, the sun dog. The sun wolf. It's white, and they had the ink game. I know you played it. It was on the PS2.
No, I never played. I know what you're talking about, but I've never played it.
Started with an A. That dog.
Akira.
Matsura.
No, not
No, they just said the name. It said the name.
Amaratsu.
Amaratsu.
Or something like
Yeah.
that.
It's hard to remember, but if they can have that in Marvel vs. Capcom, they can have Dirk. Best character. Better than any old
Why would
sun
they need
god
Derpy?
dog.
Because it's Marvel versus Capcom, and so you
She's
pulled
gonna be in
Hasbro.
Hasbro. No, she's gonna be a Monster Hunter
Why?
because the chat said so.
Oh.
She's finally gonna take the fight to the hunters and beat them up for eating all the monsters. As fun as Monster Hunter is, you kind of are the bad guy.
Yeah, and there's definitely something that.
No, I got really close to finishing that game. No, I did finish that time ago. Or the name of the game. I don't think it was named after the character, but I know it was only one of 2 games made by Clover Studio. But like so happy. Like I have become dragon. She looks like Hypno Toad.
Yes, I was thinking. I cannot blink.
No dirt or like muffins. This is my favorite show. Hypno. I'd watch that for hours. Rest of the stream can just be this shot.
Oh, we gotta
Post it on the Twitter. Hypno. Type in Hypno Dirt. Yes. This is the rest of the stream, everyone. Please enjoy.
buy me muffins.
Yay, muffins.
Buy me muffins.
I buy you muffins. Just gotta.
She's got those like fucking creepy eyes, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but she did little nose switches.
This is it's 10 hours, and it's one. I guess
It's
been out
Hypno
for
Toad.
been out for over 10 years, but
Oh, like somebody can just post a video. It's just 10 hours of Hypno Toad.
oh, it's the audio playing too.
1.5 million views. You've been doing the wrong thing. You should have just been posting
they probably
drama references.
They probably could monetize that because there's no way they can monetize that audio or copyright the audio.
Copyright the audio. They could definitely copyright the Toad, but
they always tend to play to the benefit of the creator on initial creation if something is not auto-detected. So if they don't auto-detect something, you get instant monetization. And it used to be that if something came up and was flagged it later, that you would lose revenue for a certain period of time. But now that doesn't even work that way. It's put on hold for a period. But yeah, so really, if it says that you can monetize, there's no reason not to put monetization on.
yeah.
Because it can't hurt you to not.
But what if YouTube runs out of money? If you take it all?
If I take all the YouTube money,
Yeah.
well, then I retire to Mexico because I'll be fucking rich.
It's my favorite thing about monetization. No matter who made it or who owns the copyrights, YouTube still profits. That's the most amazing thing.
YouTube, in terms of ad revenue, YouTube actually does take the smaller percentage. Not by much. I think it's a 60-40 split where the creator gets 60% of it. Mm-hmm. But they do take less than half, which is surprising. considering that they have to pay for all the data storage and all that they only consider 40% of the split to cover like everything that YouTube supplies. I would think that they'd take more. So I'm not complaining. Compared to some other places, that's good. But at the same time, since it's such a big platform, ad revenue or ad costing on there is pretty cheap. So
can you even imagine how much data storage for the entirety of YouTube?
I can't remember how much is uploaded like up per second, but it's literally like hundreds of hours a second is uploaded.
Insane.
And their systems are processing and compressing and doing all this stuff too. It's crazy, but that's where they have multiple speeds of servers. So the stuff that's brand new and it's only a couple days old, they put on the super fast accessible servers, and then there's slower servers that take longer. And that's the long-term storage. And something's called to that, they'll pull from it, but otherwise it's sitting there. Or what have I done? I have not done nothing. I only do wholesome, good hypno work. Is legal in least Stack Overflow, parallel universes. Japanese Shinto mythology. God, I have no idea what I'm saying with that. The warning: federal interdimensional police agents have been dispatched to your location. That's fine. They'll see you have no toad and they'll let us go. 2 zettabytes of storage? No. I do not know if we've ever hit a zettabyte of information.
I mean, YouTube would probably be the one to do it.
I'm kind of there it is. No, it wouldn't. So it goes. Okay, yeah. So here it is. So it's megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, and then I think there's 2 more after that. This isn't a full list. Exabyte, then zettabyte. Maybe it's yottabyte, I'm thinking. But I thought it's a zettabyte because a petabyte, I could see we're crossing into zettabyte. We have something in zettabyte. I do not think we've ever hit yottabyte. And we're talking all information that has ever existed, not just what's in computer format. Because a petabyte is 1,000 terabytes. And sign and stuff. I do not think because 1,000,000 petabytes to make a single zettabyte. This would be 100 or 1,000 or 1 billion. That's just 1 billion petabytes sounds like a little bit heavy.
I want to get to a yottabyte.
Sounds delicious.
Well, if you get a yottabyte, that's how you become a Jedi.
Yeah, yottabyte I don't think we've hit yet. I'm thinking we got to be a good amount into zettabyte, because I think like 10 years ago when I remember hearing this, so this is earlier internet, I think they said that a zettabyte contained basically all information that has ever existed within all of humanity, including all words ever spoken. Being that I think half of all humans that have ever existed exist today because of population explosions, meaning that we produce the most information today by far. Everything before 100 years ago is almost negligible compared to how much information we make in a year now. So saying everything throughout all time doesn't really change much. It's just a rounding on a decimal point.
I do like the idea that if you get bit by a Jedi, you become a Jedi, like vampires. Because it's like in the Metachlorians, right? It's in the blood.
Metachlorian? Well, no, I thought that was like retconned.
Was it?
It was so stupid.
Yeah, but like they got like it's in their blood, so it's like vampires, but Jedi, they bite you, get a Yoda bite, and then you're like, oh no, it's happening, and you go and then you start floating stuff, and that's how it happens.
Start floating stuff.
Just start floating stuff. You're just like, oh, the power, no. and then you're like, you look at the TV remote and you make it float to you, because that's what everybody would do first.
Boat just to make
Like
you
it's
sad.
across the room and you want.
Make you sad.
I mean, you could use your Jedi powers to just change the channel manually, but
I would be like,
it would do that.
I would go to the grocery store and I would give them coupons, and they'd be like, "I'm sorry, sir, this coupon is expired." I'm like, "This coupon is not expired."
Then
And
they
would take
would
this coupon.
be like,
I'd get all the
you
coupons.
know what? I've been on a 10-hour work shift. Sure, why not?
Why would you have to work again?
Sad.
Oh no, the lady.
You'd be like, go to the
lady-
bank and be like, "You will give me money."
Oh,
I'm pretty sure you'd be caught pretty quick because the cameras isn't. It's not like the people watching through the camera are like, "Oh, it's okay."
yes, it's fine. They're friends.
Sad.
Yes, it's okay if the bank teller gives free money to friends.
Yeah,
It's allowed.
that's why it's really nice to have a bank teller friend. Because you get all the free. It's like if you work at like McDonald's or Wendy's, you got a friend who worked there, and they can be like bring you nuggets at the end of the day because there's some left over. Work at the
They
bank.
come through the drive-through at 11:10.
Yeah. Like if you work at the bank, there's some leftover money at the end of the day. You can bring that home to your friends. It's the same thing.
You sad.
Same thing.
You sad.
Kinda.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
Sid.
Sad. Sad.
Don't let your friends tell you different. You can bring you free money if they work at the bank.
Well, it doesn't say they can't.
Yeah.
Actually, it probably says somewhere.
Probably says several times. If you this shouldn't even have to say.
Hashtag not legal advice.
Don't steal from the bank.
Sad.
Say it.
It is sad.
Gave us derpies, but said say it. And thank you for the
Very sad derps. But thank you
sad
for the derps. I think I saw the internet is a couple hundred exabytes. Where was that list again?
exabytes.
A few. I don't know, because like, for instance, just like LTT alone has built, I think, 2 petabyte servers. So if they have, I mean, I guess that's raw data, but they said that it's all backed up on a cloud, which means that that is being stored somewhere on the cloud. If they are alone as a single internet entity is storing 2 petabytes, and we're saying that it's only a few hundred exabytes, that means that they own like 0.1% of all internet. That seems a little weird. I can see zettabytes, early zettabytes, probably in like the 10s to 50s, but 500 hours of videos were uploaded every minute. So, and if you were to consider that on average to be, let's say 1080p at a decent whatever, 500 hours. So what? When I do a stream I record at 1080 and it's 50, which would be, or no, 50 at 5 hours, which is 1/10 of that, or 1/100th, is about 35. Yeah, let's just say 30 to round it down. So if you're doing 30, so you're talking 3,000 gigabytes or 2 terabytes a minute uploaded. That's
Imagine
quite a bit.
A lot of it's just people like basically uploading their like online diary.
Well, and that's considering 1080. If 4K is, you're hitting at 3 times or 4 times the bit, right? So, yeah, that adds up real quick.
It just doesn't feel sustainable to me, like in the long term. As more and more people get on YouTube and start using YouTube, like at what point will they have to be like, okay,
Data's cheap.
You can't upload this.
No, data is immensely cheap. They're for large servers to add a single hard, like, and they're not just taking like a standard hard drive and shoving it in there. They get these, like, they're expensive, but they hold a stupid amount of data, and it's a very different thing.
I mean, if I was running the company that is YouTube, and I would probably make a rule personally that was like, if your video doesn't get more than say 100 views within the first month.
How does a YouTube channel get established? Usually, a person's not going to usually subscribe to a channel that doesn't have much content. It's usually seeing a trend. So if they upload a bunch of videos and then everything keeps getting deleted, they're not going to have anybody making any YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I have a channel.
I'm just thinking of it from a financial perspective.
No, it doesn't make it. Data storage is cheap. They don't care, and the storage is whatever. For that, they make more money than they spend.
Hey, look, Peak of War wants to do under 20.
Yeah, like I think my live stream channel, so all the recordings of what we're doing here is put up on YouTube as a backup, and those on average get anywhere from 15 to 100 views per video. And that's a 2,500 subscriber. I mean, it's a long time, so it's probably like 1/10 those are active. But it's getting only a few views each. But you just delete those? It doesn't make sense. They have cleaned out some unlisted videos. I think they did a purge 3 or 4 months ago where any videos listed as unlisted were pushed to private, and with the intent, I think, to kind of clear out some stuff. Yeah. But
I would think at some point they're gonna have to delete some old.
Well, if you delete your channel, I'm guessing it's all gone.
Yeah.
But no, they're not going to delete it. They'll put it into a method of storage that is super, super cheap. But it means if you're going to go load that video that hasn't been looked at for 4 months, it's probably going to take a little bit for it to load.
Yeah.
And that they do have. They have multiple levels of speed. The brand new videos that are super popular and getting 1 million videos or views the first day, those are in their like super ultra fast servers, and their algorithms keep track of where they should be for all that. I was watching a thing about that.
And some people could. My thoughts started where it's just like how long YouTube like expected to hold on to like a video from 2009 that has 20 views.
Forever.
So, yeah,
because
that's the way it is right now.
Yeah, but if they start making any type of thing that states that the content is going to be deleted, you're going to have such huge backlash, and you're going to just be destroying new creators.
Yeah,
completely destroying. Even if it says that if you don't get a view in the first, or all it means is that you're going to get people that are going to be reloading their own videos, making alt accounts to get that 100 view limit. Yeah. Like, so all you're doing is you're creating problems. Mm-hmm. So
I can see that.
Yeah, Sir Edward just said that the couldn't people just go incognito. Yeah, people would do that. And if you're going to promote an easy way to fake a system, then just don't even bother with it. Hell, there's even methods right now. If you want the dislike button back, or not the dislike button because that's stayed, but if you want the dislike counter back, you kind of can get it back. LTT did a video on it recently because for a while the metric was still publicly available in the API, so you could grab the number, but now that has been disabled, so people can't make mods that still show the number. But people are now using other programs to approximate it, and there's a software that's figured out a pretty good way to figure out what an approximate like to dislike ratio is. But the like to dislike was always... It was either, there was no such thing as a video that was really 50-50 on like dislike. It was either above 90% or below 10%. There was not many that hit the middle road. I mean, if you only had like 15 or 20 likes, yeah, the percentage-wise is going to be rough to try to get in there. But if you have a large amount on either, it's always going to be above that margin. Because if people don't like something, they're going to tell you that they don't like it. But if it's fine, more than likely you're going to just get more positive anyway, because people like to hit the like button. People like to hit the dislike, not because they just didn't like it, but because they're trying to do a statement.
I feel like I'm about to say something that's going to make you upset at me. I've never hit the dislike button on any video ever. It
used to be that I had my Twitter linked to my YouTube, and if I liked a video, it would make a tweet about it, and then I had to like shut that off, but otherwise it would add it to lists that were publicly available, and there was all these other problems, that these things that would make it so that people would know that you did that. And I don't hit the like button either. Like it is an engagement thing, and it is a good thing, but I really don't either. I should more often than I do, but it's sad.
I was so convinced you'd look at me like, YouTubers depend on those
No,
interactions.
to me, comments are better.
Yeah, I've commented.
There's been I get comments every now and then of somebody saying, I watched this video and I'm leaving a comment for engagement. I'm like, hey, I'm okay with that. Because that actually does help. It's like, you know how Steam has the thing where you get like the badge for doing a bunch of little things during an event or the certain sales? It says, if you go and do this, you get this. And if you do this, you get an upgraded badge. It's the same thing with YouTube. If it gets a view, great. Did you watch it most of the way or all the way through? That's another checkbox. Did you leave a comment? Another checkbox. Did you hit the like or dislike? It doesn't really matter. Another checkbox.
Like and subscribe.
So it's all of those are checkboxes. And if you go to a video that you really like and you leave a comment, you hit the like button. I mean, if you're subscribed already, whatever. If you have the notification bell on, all those that you do help show the popularity of a channel and do help a channel out. It's all based on numbers, and the more people that do, the higher it pushes it. Because then YouTube's saying, hey, people really like this thing. There was like a lot of people that were not just hitting a like button, but in a large percentage, we're going to boost this up because more people should see it. So that's why people say it. And that's why, like, I follow a coffee YouTuber, and he says at the end of his videos, he's like, but now I want to hear what you have to say. And he asks a bunch of questions to get people to talk in the comments. Oh.
Sad.
Yeah. Rhythms.
Yeah, the algorithm is a blessing and a curse. I understand why it has to exist, but I hate that you have to please it.
Please the algorithm gods.
It's like YouTube sitting upon its throne saying, wash my feet. And you're like, yes, master.
Of course, because where are you going to go? Venmo or whatever?
OnlyFans. No, I don't care as much about the algorithm. There's definitely things I could optimize for, but then I'd be making things I don't want to make. And
what's that other?
I'll rather just make whatever I want to make without caring.
What's that site that competes with YouTube but very poorly? I don't remember it. I know it's the only place I can watch the Do Your Thing Pinkie Pie PMV.
I know what you're talking about. I don't want to say it's competing with. It's trying to fill a different niche. It's a little more lax on copyright.
It's way more lax on copyright. That's the only reason it still exists.
Creator channel, if lucky enough, then you can activate monetization. So it's not lucky enough. It's a very strict line. You have to get 1,000 subscribers and then 4,000 hours within a 12-month period of watch time. I think there's one other requirement, but that's an easy one. So, like for instance, on the ArgoZone channel, we easily hit the 1,000 subscriber. I think I did it in a day. But the hours watch time, 4,000 hours is a lot of time. For an individual person to get that much, it's like them watching a video nonstop for a month. So it's really difficult to hit that amount of time. I think the ArgoZone right now is hitting about a third of that. So if I want to enable the monetization on it, we have to get to the 4,000 hours. Once you get past that margin, you apply for it and you're basically guaranteed to get it. Unless you have anything that's breaking terms and conditions, you're fine. So, but even then, if you were at a point where the channel that is the amount of hours of watch time you're getting, even if you enabled monetization, it's probably, you're not making much. You're probably making like $15 a month or something, if that. So based on that amount of views. So I know, but for the amount of work that's involved with it, you could go get a part-time job and make.
Yeah, but who wants to do that? But
it's about building something. But at that point, the monetization doesn't help much. If monetization alone on YouTube is not, it's not a method to maintain revenue. Sponsorships are a much more consistent, better revenue source. That's why YouTubers have went that route.
I mean, you're a rich YouTuber.
Yeah, I'm making all my YouTube money, man.
That's why all the toilets are made of gold. House.
No.
He tries to downplay it, but like there's just like rock candy chandeliers on the walls and everything.
No, I do not keep any of the money for myself. It's all 100%. I made a separate checking account for it.
It goes into all the swan statues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or
I write
I'm sorry,
off the swan statues.
The gray goose statues.
Gray goose statues. I don't even drink vodka.
That is the name of the vlog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were referencing.
No, I was like Grey Duck and Goose.
Oh no, it's natural vodka.
I was just trying to be angry at Minnesota, which is crazy. You say pop here, and yet it's Minnesota. It's madness.
Being lucky to be recommended to everyone to reach and requirements. Yeah, everything is. It's a roll of the dice when it comes to like trying to get noticed for stuff. And every time you make something, every time you do something, you're rolling the dice. And sometimes somebody gets a really good roll and can very early on get a nice boost on stuff. But otherwise, it's just about but some people can roll them forever and never get a hit. Their content might be better than the other person's. That's not how the internet works. It's all about getting your content seen by the right person at the right time and it distributed to the right people. And finding a niche that doesn't already have a flood of people. Because you can say like, oh, hey, that guy's making these types of videos. I can do those types of videos. But how many people are doing that? And can you stand out in that market then? You're climbing up a much steeper hill that way. If you can start making videos that cover a topic that not many people do and in a way that not many other people do, you're going to have a much easier time.
My recommendation is start a YouTube channel that does nothing but judge jelly bean.
If you don't stop being positive, I'm going to sink the boat just to make you sad.
Made by Sunburst. Is a very fine vintage of jelly. This one here is a 1997, maybe?
Vintage 1997.
Yes. Yeah,
I don't think you can say vintage 1990 anything and have it sound legit. It's like vintage 20 something would sound more legit than 1990s.
Anything from the 90s, bad now.
Ergo's so rich his toilet paper is made from gold leaf.
He does buy pretty fancy toilet paper.
I think I have Amazon brand toilet paper.
Yeah, but I used to always get like Scott.
Yeah, you would buy that like yeah. Well, really, if I had
sandpaper for the butt,
if you were given the option for it, you'd probably just run out in the back and like take some leaves off the tree.
Yeah,
Michael, that's poison ivy. It's free.
I have a story about poison ivy.
Oh God, no.
No,
like we ended the podcast. Was it the last one? You're like, I have a story about a horse killing kittens, and we're like, nope, we're done.
I do have a story about horse killing kittens. That's a sad story.
Yeah, we've had enough Michael's stories.
No
Mike's dads. Oh, Alex wants your I think not the cat story.
The kitten story.
No, not the kitten story.
Like there was this old stump covered from top to bottom with weeds, and my dad at the time, he's like, somebody needs to get rid of all that brush around that stump, and he handed me a weed whacker, and he's like, go do that. And I was like, fine. So I'm weed whacking all this area, like this whole area around this old tree stump. Every ounce of that tree stump was covered in poison ivy. Like it was just poison ivy everywhere. And I'm out there with this weed whacker, just mowing through poison ivy, no protection, nothing on my skin, nothing on my hands, just going to town. Just bits of poison ivy flying everywhere. I was in such rough shape because I wasn't only getting that stuff on my skin, I was breathing it in, right? Because it was all chopped up into tiny particles, and I was covered head to toe in poison ivy. It took at least 2 weeks to recover. It was just a really bad poison ivy story, and I was so angry at my dad because my dad told me to do it.
Yeah, you could have said, but there's poison ivy.
If I had paid attention, I wasn't just like, whatever, the sooner I get this over with, the better. And actually realized it was poison ivy that I was just mowing through, like, just like going back and forth and just destroying left and right. Yeah, maybe I would have stopped and been like, that's poison ivy, but I didn't do that. I just got covered in poison ivy. I think my brother got it worse one time. He actually had to go to the hospital. Yeah, so covered in poison ivy. I didn't go to the hospital. I just like suffered.
But you wouldn't. Yeah, unless you were dead.
Close to.
No, because you would probably be like, I'm not dead yet.
If I was only like 80% dead, I'd try to sleep it off. But if I was like pushing 95% dead, I'd be like,
Yeah, that is
maybe.
literally what you did at 95%.
Maybe.
That's the story.
If you push me, I'll go to the hospital. I don't like hospitals. Hospitals.
No, he does. It's not that he doesn't like hospitals. He doesn't like paying for a hospital. He likes making money. He just doesn't like spending it, even if he has nothing to spend the money on.
No, I do. Stuff.
Mike's epic song in the background is matching Mike's voice, emotional voice perfectly. I could see that. That was kind of a good song for that. Yeah. Did you know it was? Yeah, I guess to answer that question, I once crashed my bike and rolled it into a field of poison ivy. Ooh. So you get scraped up and poison ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be rough. I've scraped up my leg. I have still many scars on my leg from stupid bicycle stuff. Thankfully, none of it is on my head that I can think of, but I'm pretty sure if I did bang it, I wouldn't remember it.
It reminds me of a story of one of my friends. I grew up in a trailer park, and the trailer park had this road that was just concrete blocks that were just kind of laid side by side and then just kind of mortared into place, and that was the street. It was kind of a weird way to build a road, but that's how this road was done. And my friend, he was on like a skateboard. He was barreling down this hill, this rather steep hill in our trailer park. Barreling down it, and one of the concrete slabs was raised a little bit on one side, and he hit it, barreling down a hill, full speed, hits this thing, and that skateboard just comes to a stop, and he went flying, like hit the road hard, like he got scraped up. Like, that was the worst I've ever seen. Scraped up, just out playing.
I had it where we were doing bikes, like we had a little ramp and it wasn't really jumping, we were really bad with it. And I had a bike that was not made for that type of thing. It had like the street tires on it. And so we were, but I could go real fast. I could go up like 30 miles an hour with it. And I don't even think I was wearing a helmet. And so I'm running this ramp like full bore, like 30 miles an hour. And right before I got to the ramp, my stupid friend decided it'd be funny to kick the ramp before I went in. And he didn't kick it. He wanted to originally kick it out of the way. He didn't. He kicked it sideways. So I went straight at it at an angle. And so I went up in the air and I twisted 90 degrees and slammed into the ground and just skid like an entire house length on the ground. Just chewed up the side of my leg completely. Because I'm wearing shorts too. Thankfully I didn't hit my head or anything. It was a good spin in that regard. But that guy was such an asshole when it came to stuff like that. It was we ended like oh god, I have stories I legitimately can't tell because then he would be angry at me if he ever heard me say it.
How would he ever hear you?
Because I ran into him like a couple years ago. But no, he would just do these asshole things. He's a different person now, but he would do some severely asshole things. They were like, haha, look, you almost died.
Let's make for the best stories, though. Like near-death experience.
It's one thing if you're the one that makes the choice about what your near-death. I don't like others making that choice for me.
I can't think that anybody else did something stupid that nearly killed me. Most of the stupid things I've done to myself. But yeah. Like, that's not even the worst you got hurt, Alex. I remember, you know, like, minivans, you know, like the sliding door?
Do you remember minivans?
Do you remember minivans?
You know, they still make those, right?
As far as I'm aware, but you know how they have the sliding door that opens along the side and then you shut it? Well, me and that same friend who got scraped up, we were getting ready to go to an amusement park called Americana. It's gone now. But he was so excited and he was so happy that we were going. And we all packed into this minivan and he decides he's going to close the door. But he's going to do it super hard and he puts his whole self into it and he sticks his head out the door and starts closing the door as hard as he can. And slams his head between the sliding door and the door frame. Hard. Like super hard. Like he's grabbing his skull, crying his eyes out. And he did this to himself.
Like, it sounds like this is how you got brain damage, but it sounds like you had it to begin with.
Well, this was my friend, so...
Oh, so definitely you had some
Yeah,
brain damage together.
But here's the thing. Like, he hit his head hard, like, super hard. Like, he was bruised on both sides of his head. And...
It's like,
Well, from
I got a
my-
bruise on both
both
sides.
sides of his head. But he really wanted to go to this amusement park. So he cried and cried and cried. I was like, are you okay? Do I need to take you to a hospital? And I was a kid. Just keep in mind I was a kid. And I was kind of hoping he would be like, no, I'm fine. Let's go to the amusement park. And you know what? That's exactly what he did. Because he really wanted to go to the amusement park too. But this kid definitely had a concussion. Like, in hindsight, he had a concussion. But we all went to the amusement park anyways. And we had a good old time. At least I did. I don't know what level of, like, delirium he was in. But he was definitely hurt.
I'm gonna sing positive.
So that
I'm
was
gonna
a
sing
fun
the boat just to make you sad.
I'm sure he's
Just to
fine.
make you
I
sad.
mean, I didn't see him anymore after his house burnt down. The ironic part was his dad was a firefighter. Is that irony? I think that's irony.
I swear your whole life is just a random word assortment of, like, let's pick tragedies and then, like, we'll just pull them out of a
My
hat and
house
figure
didn't
what
burn
comes. So it's
down.
like, and his house burned down. Wow.
Well, yeah. Like, it was sad. I remember he was crying and stuff. And I was upset because his Sega Genesis got burnt up in the fire. I was a kid. Kids.
Yeah, but I see how you are today, and I don't see any difference.
Wow.
Damn, I'm 80% dead. Time to undead myself by sleeping. Oh, okay. That's what you were doing. Sorry.
Go undead yourself.
It got in my bloodstream. Oh, that must have been rough. It gets scratchy from the inside.
That's what happens when you
why
breathe
does-
it in.
Why does everyone who met as a kid get extremely hurt? Is Mike the guy who kicked Argo's ramp? No, Mike is the ramp. He's the guy that gets ran over constantly. So your friend almost beheaded himself and you're laughing. Well, that would have been put your neck in there.
He was fine.
No, he almost cracked his skull.
If he was dead after that, I would not be laughing.
But now, like,
But
Kentucky
he's
makes
fine.
more and more sense. The fact that you are just constantly adding more and more brain injured people to the state.
My mother,
Make you
she always
sad.
did tell me the story where she put me on
Just to
top
make
of,
you
like, the
sad.
car when I was, like, a baby. And then she went to get her keys, and I just kind of fell off the car and cracked my head on the concrete. Like, when I was a baby. But she took me to the doctor, and the doctor said I was fine, so... All is great. My mom still feels bad
Well,
about it.
that's what your mom says.
Well, my
Does
she
she
still
want to pay for it?
she still feels bad enough about it to, like, tell me about it. But, like, it's like, I dropped you on your head on the concrete as a baby. I'm like, why'd you just stick me on top of the car? Like, people are upset when parents leave their kids in the car. My mom put me on top of the car and I fell off the car. My mom was great.
The first registered case of, like, past child abuse, like, from 30 years
didn't
ago, all
mean to do it.
culminating. Shit,
Well, she did.
nobody,
Put me on-
it's not about, it's called child endangerment for a reason. It's not about them actually getting hurt.
Fine, I bounced. I mean, I skull first, but I bounced. Don't
I think it's
die.
Kentucky standard procedure to have every baby's skull, like, with some kind of padding installed. Still there at least, like, when do you get yours removed, actually?
My brain? Or
No,
my
you're,
skull?
the rubber that they have to protect you from.
No, it's still in there.
Yeah, sounds like wood.
You don't stop being
I have a thick skull to survive and survive all those
Stop being positive.
injuries. I mean, like you say, you weren't wearing a helmet as a kid. I didn't. My parents never bought me a, and never owned one.
No, well, that was back at the time when it wasn't as popular, even, like, it wasn't a thing to do it back then.
Yeah, we
Child
didn't think
safety
about it.
was not a priority. Now, as an adult, I wear a helmet if I'm on my bike all the time. Like, fuck it, one little mistake and I get brain damage is not worth it.
Yeah. Like, I remember learning to ride a bike. And, like, there's always the scene of the parents having the kid with the training wheels on the bike. And, like, you're doing it. You're doing it. My experience with learning to ride a bike is my friend, his name was Doug. Just what his name was. Doug, he put me on his bike, and we put the bike at the top of that same steep hill I was talking about earlier, and my friend injured himself on. And he just put me on the top of it. He's like, okay, just stay upright. And I just careened down this hill. Never ridden a bike before. And I managed to get all the way into this cul-de-sac where I came to a complete stop, and I was so terrified. I didn't even bother to put my feet down. I just kind of, the bike just fell over on its side with me on it. Like, slowly rolled to a stop and just fell over. He was actually kind of angry because he's like, you're gonna scratch up my bike. Remember this. That was the first time I rode. Is that what your first time riding a bike was like?
I can't remember what my first time riding a bike was like.
See.
I don't need a childhood.
I've blanked it out. Nothing's ever horrible painful experience.
I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you sad.
Baby. Certainly don't believe in the guy. Topical. Nope.
Sad.
Trying to figure out some of this facial stuff because it looked basic until I started poking at some of this stuff. I really got the timings off on here because it feels right when you listen to it, but it ends right here. But I would want to have it end a little earlier than that. So I think this might be a little off because this is what you hear and when it actually is different. Well, hearing it when I'm holding shift is different than hearing it when hitting play.
I don't get to hear any of these videos until they're done and on YouTube.
I feel that the D in sad is right here. That's exactly where I stopped it, right here. But if I slow it, like right here, which is, that's a good, like, a fifth of a second beforehand. Doesn't sound like much, but that's enough to see a difference on the timing.
I'll see it, Philip.
Michael is the literal embodiment of, but wait, there's more. Yeah, when Michael's like, you want to hear about this horrible thing about somebody? Let me tell you about it. No. And let me follow you that up with how he died.
Nobody died. As far as I'm aware. If somebody died, that's
just to make you sad.
He's sad, and I wouldn't tell that story.
The boat just to make you sad.
Yeah, you would.
Maybe it would depend how funny the death was.
Yeah, it would be very sad, but if it was funny sad, I'm okay with it.
This is why I don't tell the story about the box of kittens.
Sad.
You brought it up.
You brought it up.
No, you brought it up originally.
Well,
now I know it exists because of you.
Oh, that was a mess.
Just to make you sad.
It's funny because it's so upsetting. But no, Alex, I don't have bad luck. What you talking about? All of my luck is the best.
You sad.
If I had bad luck, I wouldn't have survived all that crap.
You sad. You sad.
I think I heard a bark, but it's Rathian.
Just to make you sad. I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you sink the boat.
So here, now this is where I can start playing with the lip sync a little bit because the motion's done. So,
if you don't stop, if you don't.
like, Oat here can probably be opened up a little bit more. Okay, so for the angle that we're looking at, I probably want to put this up a little bit more and put...
I will say, Alex, that my life has been a fair bit more mundane since moving to Minnesota. Like,
In a bad way?
I can't start fires willy-nilly in the middle of fields no more. Like, won't let me do that around here.
If you don't
Huge
stop
brush
being
fire.
positive,
And it would always attract the coyotes. So much no. Like, if you own land, you have to burn brush, or it just builds up. So we would always pile it up to the year and then burn it on the wet day. It would always have coyotes like just cruise on the flank of the burning fire. I don't know why. What about it attracted them? It was always a little nerve-wracking. Oh. Never went cow tipping. I don't think that's an actual thing. I think that's more made up than... I don't know. Never tried it. Neighbors had a lot of
sink the boat just to make
parents
you
had a horse.
sad. Just to make you sad.
I did fall out of a boat. Like, it
If
hurt.
you don't stop being positive, I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you sad.
Better.
If you don't stop being positive,
And I do want to twist the jaw a little bit, but I want to finalize some stuff, and I'm probably not going to finish 100% today. But I'm 92% way there.
Getting there. What if the cow gave you good? You have to tip it.
What if it was a really...
How
How do you give a 15% tip?
a cow?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that, I mean, if you gave a 15% tip, they'd probably give it back. But if you passed a certain threshold, then it would be a 100% tip. I don't know if cow tipping is a thing or not, but I'm guessing maybe.
Nobody I ever knew did it, and I grew up in cow country, so...
Well, it depends.
I don't know.
I feel like in Kentucky, it wouldn't just be cow tipping. It would be for one of them to lay under where the cow's being tipped into and to see if they can roll away.
The craziest thing that ever happened to me in pastures was my mom. Like, if you're wondering where a lot of, like, the crazy crap I did growing up comes from, it was definitely my mom, because she did crazy crap. But crap being the key word was she would, like, we had horses, but we would be walking up and down the hill, the pasture, and my mom would just grab big chunks of horse poop and just chuck it at me and laugh, like, all the time. And I'd be like, that's disgusting. And she'd be like, oh, it's just grass. That's every time. That was what she would always say. Oh, it's just grass.
Yeah, except
Like,
for the stomach enzymes that can lead to infections if you get in the wrong spot.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it
Nobody
would make
was thinking
sense.
about
If
that.
your mom was a nurse or something, she would maybe understand those things.
she's a nurse.
I know, that's why I'm making this joke.
But no, we'd just be like, she'd be like, oh, like, my childhood was walking down to a lake every winter and just busting holes in the ice for the horses, like, on a daily basis. Like I said, I fell out of barns several times. It was because I would be up in the barns because I worked at Macdonald's when I was younger, and I would get home at and my mom would want me to feed the horse at midnight. That's when I got home, and I would just be climbing up in the barn, with a flashlight, and in the middle of the night I'd slip, and at least 2 occasions I fell out of the second story of the barn, landed on concrete, and it hurt. It was not easy to get in and out because the barn didn't have a ladder. You just had to climb your way up a bunch of hay bales to get to the hay that was for the horse.
For horses.
Hay is for horses.
Michael, need to bear a pair of Jodhpur pants. Did I say that? Wear a beret, keep a megaphone ready. That way, when Michael is in charge, you can yell directions at Argo from your own chair. That'd be an interesting Michael in charge. Michael in charge, but Argo Argo works. You tell me what to make.
I tell you what to make.
That would be.
That'll never happen.
That if I had a actually, I was gonna ask you guys if you had ideas on different things to use coffee points for. But no, if something like that were to pop up, I would probably make it like 1 billion points.
What? I tell you what to make. I had so many ideas. Much more.
Have you ever fallen land on a horse?
That would be weird, and that could potentially hurt the horse.
Positive,
They're not invincible.
I know, but it depends on where you're falling from. I mean, if you're falling from the New York State Empire State Building and you're like, "Wow!" You land on a horse, you're like, "Oh, I'm fine." This is just not how it works.
I still will never get over the time. We had to break a horse that was wild, and my uncle decided to lasso it. Like, I got this, and he went to lasso the horse, and the horse took off on a full gallop, and he was holding onto that rope, and it drug him on his ass all the way up this hillside. Like, and it was a big hill. He went for a good, like, couple acres just being dragged. That was fun to watch. Yeah, lassoing a horse that doesn't want anything to do with you, and you're not also on a horse, it's not gonna go well. Because that horse is stronger than you are. Sure fun to watch.
Rathian does the bark. I don't want to have him move, but I wanted him to show like kind of contempt.
Face of anger. Pink, if I landed on Rainbow Dash, she would be a blue and rainbow smudge. There's just it's like broken horse.
Look, guys, horses, they're in the real world now. They're here. And then Michael just crushed him and be like, oh, I pooped with my butt.
It's like, I want to ride one. Crack. It's fine. Like,
Ponies
they are tiny horses.
I can still boop.
They're my small horse. Not what you said. Would the G-force of being caught in midair by Rainbow Dash make you pass out? Or does
there's so many superhero movies that I think Film Theory did a video on the web swing of one of the first Spider-Man movies before Tom Holland, that of him catching somebody falling from a bridge and determined like, yeah, if you were to have done that, they would be dead. Like the G-forces alone would have been enough to kill them, because just because you caught them from hitting the ground doesn't mean that they lived. Sometimes hitting the ground is going from full speed to 0, but catching them and then pulling them back up means you're actually reversing it at a higher G-force. So it's like you're actually putting more forces on their body.
So Rainbow Dash just ripped my arms off when she tried to catch me. So, good death. Killed by a horse. Worst ways to go.
Worst ways to go?
Yeah. Be killed by a ugly stallion.
Like cancer.
Eh.
I love that you can't bring up. There's so many amazingly worse ways, but you're like, no. How about the other of the genders?
Yes. Like getting my arms ripped off by Rainbow Dash. Eh. At least I had a cute horse nearby before I died. But then, like, if it was like her cousin Gabe the horse, and he's just like, I gotcha. I'd be like, no, just let me fall to my death, please. I'd be sad. Also, you boop with your butt. How's that? Oh, it's European. It's at 5-1, 2022, instead of 1-5.
How do you know to pull that one?
But you just made it.
Oh, okay, good. I thought that was like literally one I said before.
Something you just said.
That's sad.
There's still a couple things I probably have to poke at with this before I call it good.
If you don't stop being positive, I'm gonna sink the boat just to make you sad.
I can probably actually kind of call it there. The only thing I'm going to do on this, it's a little off normal, is I'm probably going to render it twice just to remove this wing right here because it's a little weird back there. It's definitely clipping in weird.
Just to make you sad.
I'm a little concerned that this part of his arm would still maybe clip. I might have to poke at that a little bit because if I render it twice and then mask it out, I can do that. But it's also going to mask out this complete reflection, which means then that's going to potentially create a little awkwardness with his elbow here. And if I can be able to do a reflection without the elbow, it means that I don't have this in there and I wouldn't have to do it anyway. So I might have to play around with some of the positioning. I might be able to get rid of these, but I'll play with that later. So, anyways, I'm done for today. So,
yay, nearly done.
Yeah, I'll have that out so I can put something on the Rathalos channel and then have people say, "Oh, look, he's alive," which is funny that that's getting it too. And I got that on my YouTube. Like I think every time I put out something, I put out 3 videos in a row, one a month, and the last one somebody would be like, "Oh, you're alive." Reduce your subscriber count because apparently you're just subscribed to so many people you can't watch anything. Princess Usually died because Spider-Man tried to catch her with his webbing and it snapped her neck. Yeah, I think that was the one we were talking about. Yeah, they caught her with the webbing when she was falling off the bridge, and it would have snapped her neck.
Wait, oh, it would have.
Yeah.
Okay.
My stepfather said he take care of 3 horses with a single horse would cost around $7,000 to take care of annually. Yeah, probably. Well, if you can store it yourself, it's one thing, but with all the land you need and everything, it's expensive. Yeah. And if you were to have another place that you're renting to have it stored, it's going to cost you quite a bit too. So,
I mean, we had our own place. The hay was expensive.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's with any pet, and you have a very big pet.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's it for today. We'll be back on Friday, but I won't be working on this on the Rathalos thing. I'll probably be back working on the pony thing. And Saturday is Jackbox, and Sunday is the normal gaming stream. So, normal week for once. Next week isn't normal, but this week was. So, anyways, actually, let me check who's on right now. I moved all my links, so I'm confused. Nobody's on. Because I reinstalled everything. So I will say jump to Kitty.
Meow.
We'll go to Kitty. And the Michael song, which everybody loves because it's the Michael song.
I don't know what this song is. I'm fine with that.
Yes, do dee da do dee da dee da do dee da do. I can't hear it. I just know it. I can watch the sounds in the meter. So bye everybody. Thank you to Nella and Philip for the cheers. I appreciate it. And the boop. Wait, I thought. I thought Edward did some. Yeah, I didn't put Edward on the list. Oh, that was from 2 days ago. Okay, never mind.
Well, thank you anyways.
Yes, Edward always gives boop. Or month anyways. Thank you very much. So, have a good week. See you guys Friday.
Bye-bye.
Nope, there's nobody on my list for raids. So, I'm not going to jump to anybody.
She poops me like this.
Oh no, that's dangerous.